All right, so I just completed the 75 hard twice. And this is actually the morning after I completed the 75 hard last night. And what I will say is the second time that I did the 75 hard was way, way harder than when I did the first time. And I'm going to cover a recap on the results that I've been able to see, not just weight loss. Like weight loss was a great thing that I was able to accomplish. I believe I lost around 27 or 28 pounds, but it wasn't about the weight loss. It was about the mental discipline and the fact that I was able to keep a promise to myself. So therefore, I built more trust with myself. So when I say I want to go out and do something, I actually know and believe that I'm going to be the person that's going to be able to get it done. And that's why I did the 75 hard in the first place, because I realized I was going through times where I kept making promises to myself and I wasn't sticking to those promises, and I started to lose belief in my own abilities because I was naturally making commitments to myself that only I knew that I failed to stay disciplined towards. And so I started to believe that I was not a person who was able to do the things that I wanted to do. So I said, yo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 75 hard again. And when I did the 75 hard a few years ago, the results were phenomenal. I actually had similar weight loss achievements as the last time, but I'll be honest, I was doing it for the wrong reason the first time. And that's why I had to go and do it a second time. Now, both of the times I did the 75 hard, I did the first 75 hard about 2 years ago. And I just did it again. We're now about to enter into 2026. It's December 2025 right now. And what I would say in both situations, life was lifing, right? The reality is like when you're doing a 75 hard, it's not necessarily the 75 hard that defeats you. It's the other stuff that's happening because you still have to do the 75 hard as you still have to go do the normal things that you have to do in life. Now, let me explain it for those of you who may not know what the 75 hard is. If you're here, you probably know exactly what it is, but let me re-explain it again. 75 hard is where you make a commitment to do something for 75 days straight. And if you fail, you actually have to start over. So what are those things? So I actually use the 75 Hard app, and you can see that's me completing all 75 days. And what it includes is you have to do two 45-minute workouts, where one of those workouts must be outdoors, regardless of what the weather conditions are. Next, you must follow a diet. Next, you got to take a progress picture every single day. You have to drink a gallon of water every day, no alcohol or cheat meals, and you have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book. And it was super dope. Some of the results that I was able to see, I believe I ended up completing about not seven books, I completed 6 books. Two of those were relatively short. So I did complete 6 books. I lost about 27 or 28 pounds, somewhere around there. I also was able to stick to a diet where I didn't eat any cheat meals. And for me, a cheat meal was eating any fried foods and eating any kind of sweets or candy, drinking any pop or soda, anything like that. I didn't go for like an extreme diet because, as you guys know, like diets aren't necessarily the best to like long term because you don't stick to them. And that's why the 75 hard can't be a weight loss program. And that's one of the biggest mistakes most people make is they see 75 hard as just this opportunity to lose a bunch of weight, but that's not what it's about. It sets the foundation for you to lose weight the rest of your life. And in reality, the 75 hard, this is what I learned, especially the second time, because I'm not getting that much older, but you can definitely see the effects of when like 2 years ago compared to now, where like your body just takes the stress on a little bit heavier than it did before. And as you guys know, like when your body is like stressing, like your body, I'm not talking about like mental stress, like your body is stressing, it actually prevents you from losing weight. So I actually believe that the 75 hard, yes, it helped me lose weight, but like it essentially kind of stopped me from losing weight. Like I didn't lose a lot of weight the last like 3 weeks of the 75 hard. And I believe it was because like the amount of stress my body was going through, I believe it was fighting it. So I wasn't able to lose as much weight as I would have liked, but that's not why I did it in the first place. So I was okay with it. It was more about me being able to make a commitment to something for 75 days. Not drinking alcohol for 75 days has been phenomenal. I never seeing the results that I will get now, even compared to the last time of drinking alcohol. Alcohol is such a deteriorator. Like the fact that like when you drink and you go out and you go get super drunk, like you're knocked out for like 2 days, right? Like you're knocked out for 2 days. And so what I had to do was really understand, okay, where am I trying to take my life when I'm finished with the 75 hard? Now, this is the most powerful thing that I wanted to share in this recap, because for anyone who was planning to do the 75 hard, I want to tell you like the downfall of doing it the way I did it the first time compared to the second go round. Now, the first time was literally all about weight loss. It was me just trying to prove something to my friends. Like, it was a group of us that was all doing it. And it was more so me doing it, not for myself. And so when I finished the 75 hard, unfortunately, I actually gained a lot of the weight back that I lost from the 75 hard. And obviously it took about a year and a half for me to gain that weight back. So it's not like I just gained a bunch of weight right after, but the reality is I went back to old habits. And when I went to it and I said, yo, I want to do this again because I want to do it the right way. I wanted to do it because I wanted to set a foundation to where I can carry this level of discipline into anything that I do for the rest of my life. And as a business owner, it's very, very important for you to be able to operate inside like your own system. Okay. So what I mean by that is when I say operate inside of your own system, like, when you are working a 9 to 5, when you're in school or whatever the case may be, there's a lot of structure, right? Like at a 9 to 5, you clock in at a certain time. There's coworkers that hold you accountable, right? It's a lot different. Whereas when you're a business owner, you do have a lot of freedom, right? Like you don't have to clock in, you don't have to do certain things, and that freedom can turn into, that lack of freedom can turn into bad habits, right? And so what I mean by that is like, since I don't have to clock in because I can skip meetings, because I can't do these things, I have the ability to do so, but it creates long-term like bad things that can happen essentially, right? So if I have a team meeting that I'm supposed to do twice a week, and because I have flexibility as an entrepreneur where I can skip those team meetings and say, hey, you guys go do it, well, it's going to impact the way that my team performs, right? And so it was those little things that were really building up that I didn't necessarily like, where it was like, yo, well, I'm supposed to, lock in and do this YouTube video at 8 a.m. And then I kind of like slouch around. I end up doing it at 11 a.m., right? Like those type of things kept on happening. And I really felt myself going into states of what I would say like semi-depression, right? Because it was like I was so lost in the sauce, right? It was so much moving parts and I wasn't really happy with the direction that my life was going. And it had nothing to do with how successful I was financially, how successful I was as far as building a business. I just wasn't as connected to my purpose. And it was because I had fallen out of the habits that have everything to do with why I wanted to do this thing in the first place. Like when I see freedom, I don't just see freedom as me having the ability to just to go out and do amazing things and I'm all doing it for myself and I'm just having fun. I see it as me building a long-term legacy, long-term assets and things that I can pass down for generations. When I think about the impact that I wanted to create, it required a new version of myself to be able to get there. And I feel like when I did the 75 hard this second go around, like I created a new version of myself. Like I'm not the same person that I was 75 days ago. And the reason that I'm not is because I now believe in myself. I know what it looks like to stay committed to a level where I'm staying committed for myself, not for other people, not for validation. I did it for myself because I needed to prove to myself that you are a person that can create a system that's going to create maximum like value in not just my life, but other people's life. And it's like, I'm going to put myself in this system and be able to stay consistent with it because motivation dies, right? And when motivation dies, what's there to keep you going? It's going to be systems. It's going to be things that you put in place. But if you're not the person that can stay committed to the systems that you can create, it doesn't matter. You're always going to fall back to those old habits. And now I'm at a place now where I don't necessarily crave those things that I did. Like I'll give you an example. Like I completed the 75 hard the last go round. The very next day, I ate a bunch of junk food. I ate fried chicken. Like I ate all this stuff immediately the next day after. I didn't work out for probably 3 or 4 days after. And now it's like this 75 hard. I woke up the next morning. I ran about 3 miles downstairs in the gym. And like, it's just completely different. Like I'm not looking forward to eating a bunch of bad food. Like I'm still going to eat the way that I was eating before. And that was like the difference. Now, the other thing was this second time was so much harder because one, like life was lifing a little bit more, right? Business was going through different hurdles that I didn't go through before because my business has grown more. I have more employees now. Like I have more resources that I have to take care of now. And so therefore, when I'm doing a 75 hard and I got to work out twice in the middle of the day, like it's completely different. So I actually went 10 days on a 75 hard and I failed and I had to start over. The first time I didn't have to start over. I just did it completely straight because it wasn't as much noise going on back then as it is today. The second thing is I'm here in Ohio. So in Ohio, like, it's like freezing cold during the wintertime. And so when I did 75 hard the first time, I started off like at the beginning of the year, so it kept on getting warmer as I went through the 75 hard. Well, this time I started at the end of the year. I think I started, it was December now, so I started in like October or something like that. And like when I started last time, like it kept getting more and more cold as the 75 hard kept going. So like it was so much harder to go out and do that outdoor workout as I got to day 60, as I got to day 70. It got so much harder. And I just had to stay committed. I was so locked in, so it worked out. But it was so much more stressful to have to put on layers of clothes when I'm on day 65 and I'm drained. Now, what I realized, which was very similar in the first time and the second time, was there were certain periods that I actually struggled more. And when I say there was like certain periods, I'm talking about like the days. So the first period that I really struggled with was like days 15 to days 20, right? The first time I did 75, those days were dreadful because it was like I'm so far away. I'm still at the beginning, so it's like I could quit if I want to. So that temptation is there to quit because it's still such an amazing thing that you did the first 15 days. But I'm like, and you're so far away, so you want to quit. So you got to push through that. The second period that was extremely hard, and it was actually the same amount of like hard as it was the first time as the second time, was days 55 through 60. Like that period is just a day where you're dreading. You don't want to get up. There's a crazy amount of stress that is happening. Like it is so much harder when you go through those periods. And it's like you're so far away that like it's way too late to quit, right? If you quit now, you got to start over. You're probably not going to start over if you quit at this point. But it's like you're so close to the finish line. It's like, yo, you got to get through it. So I realized like mentally, those periods of time were so much harder for me on a 75 hard. But the good thing is like I was able to anticipate it. Even though I did anticipate it, it was still just as hard. Another thing that was extremely helpful was I actually had an understanding of time management from the first time compared to the second time. Time management is so key. And one of the things that I did was I was always try to wake up as early as possible to get that first workout knocked out. And I would always try to get at least both the workouts done by noon because I realized that the later in the day that it got, the harder it was to go out and do that second workout. Now, most of the time when I did my outdoor workouts, I wore a weight vest and I just walked outside. That was kind of what I did. Or I did a lot of running. And as it got colder, it became so much harder to do those walks because it was like freezing cold. All the neighbors are looking at me crazy like, yo, what is this guy doing? Like, why is he out here and it's literally 5 or 10 degrees? Like, why is he walking outside in the snow? It was to the point where like the mailman who was coming through the neighborhood all the time, like he had to stop me. He's like, yo, what are you doing? Like, why are you out here every single day? And it was just like, yo, I'm committed. I'm doing this 75 hard. And it was also very powerful because like my fiance, she also did this with me. And that made it so much easier. I remember the first time I did the 75 hard, she actually did like the last 30 days with me. So she just locked in for 30 days. Well, this time it was actually her idea to do it the second go around. And I was so against it. Like when she brought it up, I was like, there's no way I'm doing this thing again. You are crazy. But it actually turned out I was super grateful that I was able to do this with her. And what's interesting is she actually finished before I did because I had to start over and she kept going. Now, let me talk about the things that can stop you from successfully completing this. And you'll be surprised. You'll think like, oh, it's the 2 workouts. It's the gallons of water. Like you'll think that like, oh, it's the cheat meals. You'll think that those are the things that stop you from completing the 75 hard. When in reality, it's the small things. When I failed the first time, like when I failed my first, like the 10 days, I failed because I forgot to take my picture, right? Like, and if you look at any like 75 hard form or anything, most of the people who are like locked in and going through it, they fail from the little things. They don't fail from the big things. And I think there's such a big life lesson in that. It's like we focus on like just getting over the big things, but it's actually the small things that prevent us from achieving what it is that we want to complete. And that's why I love the 75 hard, because when you learn how to like hit this level of discipline, you account for everything. Like everything that's impactful, you're going to consider it rather as small or big, because having a bunch of small misses end up leading to big ones, right? Me choosing to eat a donut every single day turns out to be an extra 200 or 300 calories every day, and it leads to this. Me deciding to drink 2 or 3 times a week actually is like worse, because every time I drink, I end up eating fast food and eating a bunch of crap, right? Or I wake up the next morning and I can't work out and do those things. So like me realizing that focusing on completing all areas, rather big or small, and treating them all the same, was such a valuable lesson for me for this second go around, especially since it was the small thing that actually had me fail and have to start all the way over. I wanted to just really create this video just to really share like the recap of what I experienced. Like I feel like this can be super helpful to someone who wants to go out and do it, so people can understand why to do it in the first place. It's literally not just to lose weight. And even though I know that that is what most people think, and a lot of people do share their before and after photos, and you guys see my before and after photos when I was talking about the weight that I lost, like it was great. But like, that's not what I did it for. It's like, I know that the person that I am now, I'm going to be able to accomplish whatever it is that I want, because I created one of the biggest promises to myself that I had my entire life. I'm gonna lock in for 75 days. I'm not gonna drink alcohol. I'm gonna work out twice. Like, I'm gonna do these things that are just crazy to the average person, because if anything, if I haven't learned anything else from doing this, is you can't do average things and expect to be amazing. Right? Like, you have to do things that are so out of the ordinary where people see you, they're like, yo, this guy is crazy. Like, what is he doing? Why is he walking outside and it's snow on the ground and it's 5 degrees? Why is this guy getting up at 5 in the morning and hitting the gym and he still has this business to run? Like, I am okay with that, because I know that the things that I want in life are so much different than what other people want. I do not want an average life, so I can't do average activity.